Welcome to News Now Alberta. This is Special Ed. When Tyler Lee Canaris was walking to work at 6 a.m., he didn't think his day would end up with him in the hospital with a cracked skull, but that's the way Michael McMasters wanted it.
Welcome back to Audit Zone. Around 5:40 a.m. on March 4th, 2022, deputies of the Paulding County Sheriff's Office, Georgia, got calls that a man with a backpack was trying to break into vehicles. Deputy Michael McMaster was assigned to respond to the incident. Around the same time, a young man named Tyler Canaris was on his way to work and had his backpack as he walked by the roadside. When Deputy McMaster saw Canaris, he quickly concluded that he was the suspect. So he got down from his patrol vehicle and, without any explanation, began ordering Canaris to remove his backpack and put his hands behind his back. Canaris was confused since he had not committed any crime. Because Canaris tried to defend his innocence verbally, Deputy McMaster quickly lost his temper and violently slammed the young man to the ground, severely wounding him.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Your hands in your pockets. Jimmy, wait a minute. Excuse me. You're being detained. I'll take your backpack off. Take your backpack off. Excuse me. What am I doing? Take your backpack off. Can you explain what this is? Before you go on the ground, take your backpack off. I'm going to get picked up for work. Come on. You want to play this game? Sir. Put your hands behind your back. This is my phone. Put it down. Can you tell me what's going on? Just put your hands behind your back before you end up on the ground. You've been detained for a minute. You're matching description. Someone trying to break into people's cars. I'm not breaking anyone's car.
So he was doing nothing at all. But the cops just slammed him for no reason. He wasn't resisting, he wasn't doing anything, he was asking questions. But it really looked like this cop was waiting for this moment all his life. He wanted to use that hold, he wanted to slam someone, and there was the occasion to do it.
Get on your fucking back.
What did you do?
You dumb bastard.
Oh my God! I'm just going to work! Help me! I'm just going to work!
Get up there.
I'm just going to work! Ow! Ow!
I don't know.
Ow! Please!
Get.
I'm getting picked up from work! Please! Please help me!
Shut the fuck up.
So Mr. Canaris at this point had a broken clavicle. You're forcing his hands behind him, putting him in cuffs. Then you tell him to shut the fuck up. Like, really?
Get up.
I'm going to work! No! No!
Shut the fuck up, dude. Get up.
No!
Deputy McMaster committed multiple constitutional violations in less than 1 minute of encountering Canaris. First, he did not immediately state the reason for the stop, even though the young man immediately asked for an explanation. The deputy just started handling him aggressively. Canaris has a First Amendment right to freedom of speech and was right to verbally defend his innocence against the false accusation leveled against him by the deputy. As it was later found, Canaris was not the suspect. Deputy McMaster just got angry because Canaris exercised his constitutional right to free speech, just like any other innocent person would do when accused of a crime they know nothing about. The slamming to the ground was uncalled for. As we have shown several times on this channel, most police departments in the US would consider Deputy McMaster's behavior as an excessive use of force. The deputy's violent behavior violated the 14th Amendment. The deputy searched Canaris's bag. He and his colleague, Deputy Odgin, then joked and laughed about Canaris's behavior as the young man groaned in severe pain. When the fire department arrived to provide medical care, they found blood on the ground where Canaris was slammed on.
Please, no!
Mail backpack, right? Yep.
Please, I'm going to work!
Where are you?
I'm going to work!
Are you on camera breaking in the car?
No! I just get right out now!
I bet you are.
He lives right up there! What did I do wrong?
Hey, 348.
Please, I just didn't work!
Well, you're under arrest for obstruction. At least.
How? I literally just
You don't
wrote that
want to. You don't want to fucking listen. Put your hand behind your back. That's simple. Then I told you you're gonna end up on the ground. You still didn't do that.
I wasn't
Then your
trying
ass ended up
to.
on the ground, didn't it?
I wasn't trying to.
Wasn't trying to.
I
How old are
wasn't
you?
trying to. Please!
How old are you?
I'm 29!
You're older than me. Act like a fucking man.
I'm just trying to get to work! I'm seriously not trying to do anything, please.
It's just too late. That's fine. I gotta take it out of your pocket.
I'm just trying to get to work. Please.
Do me a favor, just relax for a second. When the cops say put your hands behind your back, you do it. And then we explain.
I don't know what you did wrong.
I was trying to explain to you, but you wanted to keep pulling away. So now you're under arrest for obstruction.
Yeah.
Nope, I told you multiple times. All you had to do was listen. But no, you wanted to be a child, try to pull away. That's your fault.
At no point did he actually pull away. He was asking questions, didn't know what the heck was going on. And this cop is gonna charge him with something just to cover his ass. Like, I told you were end up on the ground. I told you were gonna end up on the ground. What happened? Your ass ended up on the ground. Well, this guy should have said later on that I told you were gonna get fired.
Nope, you're under arrest.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Car parts.
I got my other hip on my ear. Please come on. I'm just trying to get my life back together.
The first name is Chris. It's not Chris.
Can you call my dad, please?
How old are you? 29? I'm not calling your dad.
What?
I'm not calling your dad. You're 29. You're older than me. I ain't
No, come on, please. I'm just trying to get to work.
calling you. Go back to my car.
Well, he's arrested for his obstruction at this point. How are you searching his bag for obstruction?
You can check
I'm really
Metro.
trying to get to work.
No, not yet.
I'm really trying to get to work. Please, I'm just trying to get to work.
I was just trying to confirm the first name is Chris and not Chris.
I don't think he ever made it into a car, did he? That we know of. Yeah, he was trying. So it is him. Yeah, it's him. That's like they said negative charge. Did you see him trying to get into a car? I was gonna address that later. All you do is take his backpack off and turn around and put his hand by the back. He wouldn't have played this game. P1 gets it off the skin. P1. Oh, God. Right.
My wife likes to live in a car.
I don't think he actually got into a car. I dropped him on his head right there. I got boo-boos too, but I'm okay. But yeah.
Poor little piggies had boo-boos too. Weird that he didn't charge the guy for his little boo-boos.
Get back in my car. Just make sure he's definitely at the bullets up. Hey, come out real quick.
Deputy McMaster further violated Canaris' constitutional right by searching the backpack and emptying all of its contents without consent. Nothing incriminating was found in the backpack. In fact, the hand gloves that the deputy seemed to be excited about was related to Canaris' job, since he works as a landscaper. In his police report, Deputy McMaster made several ridiculous statements that will make any reasonable person question his worthiness as a law enforcement agent. McMaster claimed he treated Canaris violently due to the lack of sunlight. He also stated that he had no colleague to assist him, and his experience taught him that people like Canaris usually have targeted items. The deputy also narrated the encounter as if Canaris disobeyed him for several minutes, even though the time between his first contact and the violent conduct was less than a minute. The deputy also claimed he sustained injuries following the incident. Deputy Odgan accompanied Canaris to the hospital. Following that, Deputy McMaster finally took his time to confirm the identity of the main suspect. He watched the surveillance footage and found that the main suspect wore different shoes and was likely not Canaris. Despite that, the deputy tried to justify his conduct by claiming Canaris quickly changed his shoes before he saw him.
Why the heck would you change your shoes and not take off, like, the sweater or something of the sort that people would recognize? But no, he changed his shoes before the cops got to him.
Canaris was eventually charged with obstruction of an officer. It seemed when Deputy Odgan followed Canaris to the hospital, he humiliated the innocent man even on the sick bed. Pat Gadsden, who claimed Canaris is his grandson, wrote a review on the Google page of the Paulding County Sheriff's Office. He wrote, "They put my grandson in the hospital thinking he was the wrongdoer, had him handcuffed to the bed in the ER, and then told him they found the real criminal. My grandson had surgery on a shattered collarbone, a fractured skull, and a splinted broken thumb. The police report read he was released on sight. I think that is a crime, as he was taken to hospital by the police and handcuffed. In February 2023, Canaris' legal team announced they would file a civil rights lawsuit against Paulding County. One of Canaris' attorneys, Sean Williams, said the young man retained his firm just 1 week after the incident in March 2022. However, movement on the case had been minimal due to the sheriff's office blocking multiple requests for details they made under the Freedom of Information Act. Another Canaris attorney, Taurus Butterfield, said the obstruction charge the department later took to court should be dismissed. He explained that under Georgia law, citizens have the right to resist an unlawful arrest, which is what happened in this case. The legal team was also concerned that it took the sheriff's office 8 months before they finally decided to file the alleged obstruction charge. The attorneys also don't understand why the department and county solicitor did not bring charges against McMaster after their investigation. Attorney Williams promised to send a letter to the U.S. Department of Justice to investigate if the Paulding Sheriff's Office and Solicitor's Office were involved in covering up the deputy's misconduct. Due to his injuries, Canaris spent 9 days in the hospital. He has now revealed that he can no longer pull or lift things like he used to. When a concerned citizen got the video of the incident and shared it on YouTube on February 16, 2023, it quickly went viral and drew public outcry. After seeing people's reactions, Sheriff Gary Gullidge released a statement the following day. The sheriff seemed to be in support of his deputy by stating that Mr. Canaris repeatedly refused to comply with the deputy's commands to remove his backpack and place his hands behind his back.
So the violent Tyrant pig was never actually charged for anything. And his sheriff was covering his butt, saying that, just comply. He never wanted to take his backpack off, and he didn't want to put his hands behind his back. You do not have to follow unlawful orders. But this sheriff knows this pig's history, that I'll get into it later. But this guy is a violent cop, and the sheriff knew it.
And that was why Deputy McMaster used force to bring Mr. Canaris to the ground and placed him under arrest. If the sheriff supports a quick escalation of a non-violent encounter that occurred in less than 1 minute, I think that says a lot about this department's leadership and conduct. Following their internal investigation, Deputy McMaster was taken off patrol and placed on desk duty. However, in March 2023, it was reported that the sheriff's office had terminated the appointment of Deputy McMaster for policy violations. The department did not elaborate on the violations, but it said that it was not directly related to the body slamming incident. The sheriff's office also added that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is still investigating the incident. As of recording this video, there was no new information concerning the lawsuit and the GBI investigation. I will update you if I find any new details. Well, that's all concerning this video. Thanks for watching.
There is a lawsuit still not resolved here, as I can find anyway. Mr. Canaris is suing the officer and the sheriff for his traumatizing time he had with this tyrant pig. I will leave a link to the lawsuit in the description if you want to read the whole thing, but there are many violation of rights, false imprisonment, and assault and battery on there, plus other things. McMaster was shortly thereafter terminated, but the sheriff's office noted at the time that the termination was because of policy violation. They said were not directly related to the body slamming incident. They noted the investigation at the time by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation was still ongoing. So he was fired for policy violation and not because he cracked an innocent man's skull. Deputy McMaster illegally detained him and violently threw Tyler to the ground, causing serious physical injuries to Tyler, said Starks, the lawyer. And to add insult to injury, and in an effort to cover up his excessive force and the illegal detention, Deputy McMaster filed a false affidavit alleging that Tyler had obstructed him, when in fact Tyler was fully cooperative and there was no legal basis for Tyler to be stopped and detained. Canaris was admitted to the hospital for injuries, which attorneys said included a broken clavicle. He was later cleared of any connection to the car break-ins. He is charged with obstruction, accused of not obeying the deputy. His attorney had accused the Paulding County deputy of leaving their client with $75,000 worth of medical bills from fractured bones and a ruptured eardrum. So the cop had to charge him with something to try to hide his violent attack on this innocent man. This is what cops do. They will try to justify what they did with trying to send you to jail for something just so they don't lose their jobs. So this cop was known to break rules and be very aggressive, but was still a cop. The sheriff's office initially concluded the deputy did not use excessive force and placed McMaster on administrative leave. It was reported his personal file showed a record of reprimands and commendations going back to 2015. According to Deputy's personal file, in 2015, his superior reprimanded him in writing, saying that he can be unnecessarily overly aggressive. He was recently written up for aggressive behavior when dealing with an inmate. He was advised to undergo anger management counseling and threatened with termination. The deputy's personnel file shows he's been reprimanded at least 10 times, beginning in 2015 and most recently in November 2022 for minor or more serious violations. For example, in 2016, he left a trainee alone in the booking room for extended periods. In 2018, he left drug evidence out in the open in the sheriff's office overnight. In 2020, he arrested a man for simple battery in a domestic dispute, but failed to get an arrest warrant before the deadline under the law, so the suspect was released from jail and allowed to return home. In 2015, he left a jail phone inside an inmate's cell, telling his supervisor later, according to his file, I guess it slipped my mind. In 2015, he took a jail car without permission to run personal errands while off duty. This past November, he was attending a training session and called his supervisor to say that the session would last until almost the end of his shift. The supervisor permitted him to go straight home after the training session. However, the training session ended early in the afternoon, and others in that class returned to work for the remainder of their shift that day. The reprimand said the deputy has been misleading and dishonest to his supervisor, which the deputy disputed. What do you think of this cop? Should he have been fired a long time ago? Let me know in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and check out my Patreon where for $1 a month you can get my videos a week in advance with other perks coming. Thank you.